Back in the present, Rust has found Sunraku and challenges him to a fight, saying, "Our last battle was a draw. Why did you quit playing after that?" Sunraku replies casually, "I don't remember. Maybe I started playing some trash game instead." Rust gets angry, feeling insulted that he left the game for something so trivial. She challenges him to a fight, and Sunraku repairs his robot, preparing to face her. Meanwhile, Super Ballman suddenly teleports to the audience area, where other players have gathered to watch the battle. Everyone is excited to see Rust and Sunraku clash. The match begins with Rust chasing Sunraku, attacking relentlessly, while he dodges and fires bullets at her. However, Rust skillfully evades and counters every move. The two keep fighting intensely, with the audience cheering them on. Watching the battle, Super Ballman thinks, "I want to defeat Rust and become the top player, but I'm not strong enough yet. Sunraku, you're my best chance. Go defeat Rust." As the fight reaches its peak, Sunraku draws his sword for a final attack, but Rust easily destroys him and wins the match. Afterward, Sunraku sits on the ground, exhausted. Rust scolds him, "How could you lose so easily? Take this seriously." Sunraku responds, "Don't be ridiculous. I haven't played this game in over 3 months, so my controls are rusty." Rust challenges him to a rematch, but when Sunraku refuses, she gets furious. Moto steps in, calming her down and apologizing to the crowd for her outburst. Later, Sunraku reluctantly agrees to a rematch, which excites the other players. As Rust leaves, Sunraku comments, "She's still using the same robot from 9 months ago." Super Ballman explains, "Rust decided she wouldn't change her robot until someone defeats her, but no one's been able to beat her since your last fight." Determined, Sunraku vows, "Fine, I'll keep playing until I defeat her." Super Ballman offers to share Rust's secret weakness if Sunraku agrees to fight him again. In the next scene, we learn more about Nephilim Hollow. Long ago, Titans, massive robots, descended from the sky and destroyed half the world. Humans developed a technology to control Titans, which is what players use to pilot their fighting robots today. Back in the present, Sunraku and Super Ballman sit on a rooftop watching Titans pass by below. They spot a new type of Titan, one that Sunraku has never seen before. Super Ballman explains, "These Titans came with the latest update. They have unique abilities, but also a lot of flaws, so most players avoid using them." Sunraku decides, "I'll use this Titan to create a fighting robot. Its abilities are unknown, so no one will see it coming." Sunraku defeats 2 Titans with ease and captures a third one intact. Later, he and Super Ballman visit the black market to buy parts to build the new robot. While shopping, a few players encourage Sunraku to defeat Rust, saying they respect her but want to see her fight using a different robot. Super Ballman asks Sunraku if he's figured out how to beat Rust. Sunraku replies, "I can't match her speed or control, but you told me Moto was feeding her information about my movements. I have an idea." The scene shifts to the day of the rematch. Players gather to watch the fight, but Sunraku is late. When he arrives, he unveils his new robot, Fiddler Crab, surprising everyone. Moto observes the robot's skills and doubts it can defeat Rust, but Super Ballman remarks, "You're underestimating Sunraku's tricks." The battle begins, and Sunraku dodges Rust's attacks while firing at her, just like before. However, Moto notices something strange, suspecting Sunraku has a hidden plan. Suddenly, Sunraku disappears mid-battle. Rust attacks blindly, saying, "This stealth ability hides the player's body, but not the rocket boosters. I can still figure out where you are." She launches a powerful attack, confident she's won, but Moto realizes something is wrong. He shouts, "Rust, get out of there!" Too late. Sunraku appears right behind her and uses his claws to cut off one of her arms and a wing. The episode ends here. Sunraku taunts Rust, "What's your next move?" and suddenly disappears. Overwhelmed with the new information, Moto advises Rust to keep her distance and wait for Sunraku to reappear once his energy runs out. However, Rust ignores him. Instead, she jumps off the building to confront Sunraku head-on. Sunraku, still invisible, says, "I knew you wouldn't take the boring route. That's just like you." Rust retorts, "Don't underestimate me, Sunraku. The moment you attack, you'll become visible, and I'll be ready." As Sunraku prepares his next attack, he starts to reappear. Rust immediately counters, slicing off one of his robot's arms, the one with his main weapon. The audience erupts with excitement at her incredible counterattack. Sunraku, impressed, admits, "That was a brilliant move, Rust, but I've got what I needed. Now let me show you my trump card." Moto panics and warns Rust, "Move, he's going to trap you." Sunraku throws a net at her, but Rust dodges and laughs, "This is your trump card? You've underestimated me." Watching the fight, Super Ballman recalls Sunraku saying, My trump card will decide whether I win or lose against Rust. If I can destroy one of her boosters, I can force her to move where I want. In the present, Rust dodges the net, but notices Sunraku standing in front of her. He reveals a new weapon, opening his robot's chest to reveal 2 blades. What follows is an explosive clash. Sunraku relentlessly slashes Rust's robot, while Rust drives her sword through his. Sunraku declares, when a heavyweight robot and a lightweight robot face a double knockout, the result is obvious. Rust's robot is destroyed, and Sunraku is declared the winner. The players watching celebrate, excited at the possibility of seeing Rust fight with a new robot. Moto, still processing everything, says, I couldn't handle so much in such little time. Sunraku is thrilled with his victory, but Rust angrily confronts him, saying, you may have defeated this robot, but we're not even yet. 1 win each and 1 draw. Until we have another fight, this isn't over. Sunraku calmly replies, I've got what I needed, and now I'm going back to my main game. Are you quitting this game again? Sunraku confirms, yes, but I promise to log in again. As more players gather around, Moto tells Sunraku, your presence has brought excitement to this game. If you keep playing, it'll only get better. Rust suddenly grabs Sunraku, shouting, you better log in daily. Sunraku nervously agrees, saying he only plays Nephilim Hollow to relax since he can't use robots in SLF. Rust, intrigued, asks about robots in SLF and proposes a deal. If you give me information about robots, I'll tell you about a unique monster called Cutter Knit of the Abyss. This information will help you reach the unique monster. The 3, Sunraku, Rust, and Moto, move to a secluded building to discuss the deal. Moto suggests, we'll share information about the unique monster if you share details about robots. Sunraku is skeptical and thinks, even the professor didn't know about this unique monster. How do they? He tells them, I didn't expect to hear about unique monsters in this game, but I can't share my information unless I'm sure yours is useful. Moto explains a unique scenario, Pierce the Decipher of the Abyss, but admits they didn't complete it because Rust got bored when no robots were involved. Sunraku points out, unique scenarios with EX in the name lead to unique monsters. Completing that scenario would have unlocked the EX scenario. Rust, surprised, asks, so if we'd completed it, we'd have reached the EX scenario? Sunraku agrees and offers to help them finish it. Moto proposes meeting in 5th Town to continue, but Rust asks again, are you really quitting Nephilim Hollow? Sunraku reassures her, once you build your next robot, I'll fight you again. Rust smiles and surprises Sunraku by summoning a new robot. Let's fight now! Sunraku panics, saying, you already built another robot? As players gather to watch, chaos ensues. In the next scene, Sunraku logs out of Nephilim Hollow, satisfied, and falls asleep. The story shifts to Shangri-La Frontier, where Emul is bored, missing Sunraku. Her older brother, Sakura, a samurai, arrives lifting her spirits. Sakura asks about their father's whereabouts and mentions meeting an amazing person near the Segway Dragon King. Emul asks excitedly, another player like Sunraku? Sakura calls out, and a hooded player removes their hood, introducing herself as Akane Akasu. The episode ends here. Hearing this, Sunraku mutters, Akane Atsu? I've never heard of them before, but that's no surprise, given there are over 30 million players in SLF. He then asks, Emul, is Akane Atsu still in the Palace of Rabbit Juo? Emul replies, she was looking for my dad, the boss, and said she'd rest until he comes back. Sunraku realizes she's likely logged out. He then asks, do you know where your big brother Sakura is? Emul shrugs and says, he disappears from time to time, so I don't know. Sunraku becomes disheartened, realizing there's no way to stop the Rabbit Juo invitation from spreading. After a while, he checks his map to figure out how to get to Fifth Saya City for his meeting with Rust and Moto. The long route irritates him, but Emul brightens up, saying, it's been so long since I went on a trip with you. I can't wait. However, Sunraku apologizes and says, Emul, I can't take you with me. Upset, Emul starts scolding him, but Sunraku suddenly smiles and says, I can't take you because you have an important mission. When Akane Atsu comes back for the boss, either tell me about her or keep her here. To convince her, he dangles a carrot, which immediately excites Emul, and she agrees. Sunraku thinks, Emul is so easy to fool sometimes. I feel bad for her. At that moment, Blacksmith Black shows up and proudly presents Sunraku with a new weapon made from crystal scorpions and golden scorpions, the Re-Legacy weapon Gilt Brill. Sunraku is impressed by the weapon's size, but surprised, asking, did I ask for something this big? Black recalls how Sunraku had requested twin blades and a gauntlet to expand his fighting options. Sunraku admits he didn't realize the size would be so massive and decides to test it in battle. Black offers to explain the weapon's creation process, but Sunraku, in a rush, declines and suggests she talk to Emil instead. Annoyed, Black watches as Sunraku hurriedly leaves the Palace of Rabbit Juo and heads toward Eightfold City. While wandering Eightfold City, Sunraku checks his stats and notices that his level displays as 99 extended. Curious, he wonders what extended means but decides to figure it out later. He thinks about how his increased experience has made the game harder to play solo, so he'll need help. After some thought, he sends a message to someone for assistance. In the next scene, at the headquarters of the Shares clan, clan leader Cigar 100 receives an email. She announces to her members, "This is a mail from Amalia. She's interested in Liga Con." Another member mentions she also received a mail from Amalia about Liga Con. As Sagar 100 prepares to reply on their behalf, she receives another email. Assuming it's also from Amalia, she opens it, but freezes in shock, her hands trembling, her voice cracks, and Cigar 100 asks, "Cigar Zero, are you okay?" Cigar Zero, who is actually Rei Cigar in real life, logs out, flustered. In the real world, Rei Cigar is revealed to have a crush on Sunraku, his Utome in real life. Blushing, she says, "Finally, Tomi invited me." Back in the game, Sunraku notices Cigar Zero has logged out and feels he sent the invitation at the wrong time. Disappointed, he realizes he doesn't have anyone else to ask for help. Later, Sunraku arrives in a new area and grows frustrated that he can't equip his new weapon due to insufficient vitality. However, he quickly comes up with a solution, using another piece of equipment to boost his stats. Equipping a special helmet, Sunraku exclaims, "Now I can use Guilt Brill with ease." Just then, he receives a mail from Cigar Zero, apologizing for the late reply and agreeing to join him. She suggests meeting in 11th Town, Lavender. Sunraku is thrilled, but realizes he must cross the ruins of past glories to get there. Determined to meet Rust and Moto on time, he decides to defeat the area boss quickly. After reaching the boss's location, a massive pile of junk, Sunraku says, "Finally, I'm here. I've done my research on you, boss." The pile assembles into a giant monster. Sunraku comments, "I heard this boss was huge, but it's practically a mountain." Equipping Guilt Brill, he declares, "Time to beat this boss in under a minute. I can't afford to be late." Using upgraded skills, Sunraku dodges the boss's attacks and creates a reflection decoy to distract it. The boss attacks the decoy, allowing Sunraku to climb onto its back. As the monster attacks again, Sunraku evades and climbs higher. Reaching the top, he targets the large wheel on the monster's back, saying, "If I separate this wheel, it'll crush the boss, hitting its weak point. Thanks to Guilt Brill, I can finally do it." Determined to break the speed record, Sunraku prepares for the final strike. The episode ends here. The area boss seizes the opportunity to attack, forcing Sunraku to dodge and improvise. Placing his foot on a crystal bullet planted earlier, he uses the weapon's vibration ability to extend the bullet, creating a makeshift platform. With this, he reaches the second pillar and unleashes a barrage of attacks, finally breaking it. The massive wheel collapses, crushing the boss and killing it instantly. Sunraku checks his time. He defeated the boss in 59 seconds, breaking the record for the fastest kill. Overjoyed, he says, "Without my Guilt Brill, I couldn't have done this so quickly." He then sprints toward Levent City. In the next scene, Sunraku arrives at Levent City and purchases new clothes from a shop. These clothes boost his vitality, allowing him to use the Guilt Brill without relying on his other helmet. Leaving the shop, Sunraku realizes he has some spare time before meeting Sagar Zero. Just then, he overhears two players discussing how Cigar Zero has been waiting for someone, looking annoyed. Panicked, Sunraku rushes to meet her, apologizing for being late. Cigar Zero smiles and reassures him, "It's fine. I just got here early." Sunraku asks for her help in crossing Light's Barrens, offering her a reward in return. Sagar Zero declines, saying, "We're friends. I don't need anything in return." They travel together to the Light's Barrens, a battlefield from ancient times. As they explore, Sagar Zero asks, "Are you meeting someone special in 5th Saya City?" Sunraku explains that he's meeting two players he knows from another game. Sagar Zero teasingly asks, "Are they girls?" Sunraku admits, "One of them is." Before he can explain further, a monster ambushes them, but Sagar Zero kills it effortlessly. She then asks, "Is that girl your friend?" Sunraku replies, "Not exactly. We've never met in SLF, and she's not even on my friends list." Hearing this, Sagar Zero thinks to herself, "That means I still have a chance." As they continue through Light's Barrens, Sunraku praises Sagar Zero's skills, saying, "You shredded that monster like paper." Sagar Zero credits Sunraku for distracting the monsters, making it easier for her to attack. She notes that Sunraku hasn't taken a single hit, and he jokingly replies, "That's because I'm half naked thanks to these cursed marks." Realizing this, Sagar Zero blushes and insists they get the curse removed so he can wear proper armor. Sunraku agrees, but explains that the Liga-Con cursed marks have been beneficial to him, so he hasn't prioritized removing them. He recalls that an NPC named Saint Arilla can remove curses, and Sagar Zero confirms this, adding that Arilla is highly sought after and heavily guarded by both NPCs and high-level players. Sunraku hopes that, with Sagar Zero's connections, he'll be able to meet Arilla someday. For now, he decides to focus on defeating the area boss and reaching 5th Saya City. Sagar Zero makes a surprising request, asking Sunraku to call her Rei instead of her full name. Sunraku agrees, and the two continue their journey. He reflects on how intimidating Sagar Zero once seemed, but now finds her trustworthy and easy to talk to. They approach the area boss, but as night falls, Sunraku becomes impatient, saying, "Rei, the moon's up and we still haven't reached the boss." Rei nervously admits they might be lost. As she tried to take a shortcut she didn't fully remember. Suddenly, a magic spell flies toward them which Rei dodges. They prepare for a fight, only to discover that the SF Zoo clan, led by Amalia, is blocking their path. Amalia tells them, "The road ahead is closed. You'd better find another way." Sunraku questions her intentions, asking, "Amalia, are you planning to player kill with your armed clan members?" Amalia fires back, "I could ask the same about you. Why are you in this remote corner of the area?" Sunraku explains, "We're here to defeat the area boss." He then realizes they're in the wrong spot and silently blames Rei for leading them astray. Amalia accuses them of double booking, implying they've interfered with her plans. Sunraku denies knowing about any events happening here, but Amalia warns, "You won't find the boss here, so leave before things get ugly." Sunraku suspects Amalia is upset about not receiving information on Rabbit Juo from him. She denies this, revealing that her clan leader shared Sunraku's secret in exchange for settling an old debt. She then explains how to trigger the unique scenario, by landing 100 critical hits on the Liga-Con Night Slayer. Sunraku realizes they've been misled by Pencil Gun and silently laughs, thinking, "That won't trigger the scenario." As Amalia finishes speaking, dark smoke begins descending from the sky. Sunraku freezes as the unique monster, Liga-Con Night Slayer, appears before them. The episode ends here.